So just about 6 weeks ago, I showed you my Costco plant haul, and we potted up some bulbs and bare root plants to leave in my hoop house to finish out the winter and wait for the last frost date. Well, my last frost date has come and gone, and I have a plant update for you. So what thrived, what died, and which one absolutely shocked me? And what do the roots look like? Let's dig in to find out. First, let's talk about the daylilies. So now the package that I had two types of daylilies, Chicago Apache, which is a red, and Liza Lipstick, which is this really cool two-toned pink and dark pink, or pink and red, depending on your opinion. All four of them bloomed, and you can see this one has a bud on it, which means that all of them soon will get buds and will start to bloom. Now you may remember when I took them out of the package, some of the leaves, the outer leaves from being inside the package were a little wonky. They were kind of bent. They didn't look so great. But you can see, pick a good one here, those leaves turned brown and died off. And the rest of the foliage looks great. It's green and healthy and beautiful, and these will be blooming in no time. The second plant that we talked about was America Astilbe, which is a pink Astilbe. Look at this growth. They are huge. I can't believe that they grew this big in only 6 weeks. After I planted them for the first couple of days, they kind of looked like aliens coming out of the soil. And they started white and then they turned brown. And for a little while, I was a little worried that they might not make it. But as you can see, they look fantastic. They got really big. You can see this one is in a bigger pot. This one had a bigger root. It didn't fit in my regular 4.5-inch pots, so I had to go to a bigger pot. So this plant is bigger, all right, but it started out bigger, so that's part of the reason. This one, like the lily, is starting to get a bloom on it, which means the rest of these will all be blooming soon. Okay, so let's talk about the plant that shocked me. Remember when we potted up the Dr. Ruppel Clematis, and I told you that it probably wouldn't bloom this year? Well, boy, was I wrong. Look at that flower. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Kristen, well, there was 4 in that package and you got 1, but no. 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of the 4 already have blooms on them. And honestly, this 4th one looks really green and healthy. I don't see any buds on it, but I'm sure it's gonna get some very soon. Another plant that we talked about was that Itoh peony. That's the cross between a garden peony and a tree peony that doesn't need staking. Now that one also, I told you, is a slow grower and will not bloom this year. And sadly, I was right about that. This one is growing much slower than everything else, but that's okay. This plant is going to be amazing. And in fact, we talked about the value of this plant. This one root was $13.99. All of these packages were $13.99. But if you look for this same Bartzella Itoh peony on QVC, you will find it for more than triple the price. And not only is it triple the price, but also you're probably getting a root that's about the same size that's going to take almost as long, if not just as long, in order to bloom. One plant that I didn't put in the video were these Bressingham blue hostas. I potted these up before I had the idea to make a video for you. So I wanted to show you these as well because Costco really had a very large selection of hostas available this year. And this was one of the ones that I chose. It's one that I've never grown before, but they look great too. Now I can't get all 8 of these guys on camera, but you can see they look healthy, they're growing nicely. This one has a flower bud on it, so I believe that all of them will bloom soon. When we potted these up, I told you that I sprinkle Floricon slow release fertilizer into all of my pots. I use that with all of my perennials. It's just a well-balanced slow release fertilizer. It lasts 3 months, which is great if you're a busy mom like me and you aren't always in your yard and sometimes things get away from you. You don't have to worry, but I also found a bit of a secret weapon. I'm going to show you what I use on my annuals that I ended up using on all of these as well, and I really do think that it made a difference. Even though the plants all had Floricon in their pots, when the plants were small and I was fertilizing my annual petunia hanging baskets. I was using this Grow Big from Fox Farms to really help pump up the size. And when I was done spraying my annuals, I always had some left over in my spray bottle. So I would come around and spray all of these plants, and I really feel like it helps them achieve the size that they are. Then now that there are some buds, I'm gonna switch from the Grow Big to this one called Tiger Bloom. This one really helps get many, many flowers, really big, bold, beautiful blooms. I've been really happy with this. I found both of these fertilizers at my local nursery wholesaler, and I've been really happy with them. So I re-upped this year. I'm gonna leave a link for these in the description below in case you wanna check them out. I'm also gonna leave a link for a 3-pack that comes with the Grow Big, the Tiger Bloom, and an organic. I use the organic Fox Farm for my veggie garden. I won't put any kind of chemicals, even chemical fertilizers, onto anything that I'm gonna eat. So I like that the 3-pack comes with an organic fertilizer that I can use from my fruits and veggies. Let's take a look at these roots. So now I'm going to show you one root ball from each plant. I'm only gonna upend one of each variety. So I'm trying to choose one that's like in the middle of the way that each group looks. So it should be pretty representative of the growth of all of them. This daylily, this is a Chicago Apache. Oh, I see some roots poking out of the bottom here. Can you see that? I don't know if I'm close enough. There you go. Lots of roots. This plant is good and healthy and growing delightfully. All right, so that one looks good. This is the Astilbe. Got some pollen in there. The pollen has been falling like rain. All of my students and the other teachers are coughing and sneezing. It has been terrible. All right, there you go again. Nice root ball on that. This is only in 6 weeks. Let's talk about this Clematis, because even though I already told you, I'm so amazed that these bloomed. But not only that, I took a trip recently to my local Lowe's and I found this exact Clematis for sale at Lowe's for either $14 or $15. I'm gonna put it in the corner of the screen so you can see it. It's a little bit bigger than this one, so it's got more flowers on it, but I got 4 of these for less money than what Lowe's is charging. So by potting them myself and just leaving them in my hoop house, I saved 75% off what I would have paid from Lowe's. And this plant is going to be just as big and just as beautiful as anything I would buy now. Let's check out the roots. So I have this stake in there for the flowers. They haven't really started winding around it yet. I'm gonna have to get some clips. My plant tag. All right, let's see. Some more pollen. Oh, this one's feeling a little looser. All right, not as many roots in here, but you can see that it's held together well, and there are some roots here on the bottom. This one makes me a little bit nervous because it's still pretty small. So let's see what the roots are doing. Woo! All right, that was the only one that fell apart. And you can see that there is some fresh growth on those roots. But yeah, they're still pretty small. Not too much of a surprise though. Oh, I gotta repot this one. Hold on, guys. Not only did I upend this pot, but my puppy has turned it over a couple of times too. This poor thing is suffering in my yard. And last, but certainly not least, the Bressingham Blue Hosta. All right, and this one has some nice root activity as well. There you go. Now the root ball fell apart a little bit, but you can see all of those nice big roots. So there you have it. If you bought plants around the same time that I did and you potted them up, they're ready to go in the ground as long as it's past your last frost date. I'm really satisfied with these plants. I'm really happy about the amount of growth that they have, and I believe that they're going to be spectacular this year. But I did have some things to share with you based on viewer comments. Most of the people that commented on my video about Costco plants were really happy with the purchases that they've made through Costco. Most people have had really good luck, but I did have 2 people that said that they didn't have such good luck. One of them said about 10 years ago, she bought a bunch of plants in similar packages to the ones that I showed you, but some of the plants were actually invasive. Now, I haven't seen any really invasive varieties at my local Costco. Let me know in the comments if you have. I'd like to think that nowadays they wouldn't sell something that would invade your garden, but this particular commenter told me that she bought nutsedge that turned out to be an absolute disaster in her garden. Anytime you're going to buy a plant, if it's something that you've never heard of before, you just want to do a quick Google search, ask if that plant is invasive, or you can check the invasive plant atlas, which I'll leave a link for in the description, because some plants can be invasive in one area and not in others. So tell me, which plants did you buy at Costco this year and how are they doing? Did you pot them or did you plant them directly in the ground? I'd love to know. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day.